So git branch. If I do like a latest pull, so I will get the latest one. So from there, if I do again a git branch, I'll get to there. Git checkout -b class 70. So now it's kind of a new branch. So here we can work on first thing on dictionaries. In dictionaries, I forgot to mention about that frequency analysis. So what is this frequency analysis? You will learn a lot of things in one shot. The most common problems that we have will be solved here. Generally, if I have some kind of text data, how to analyze that? So, okay, I already wrote here. In terms of text data, how to analyze? We have some string. If you want to calculate how much time a particular thing is present, for that we can do the problem solved in multiple ways. So if I go with like method one, whatever the characters are there, I need to go to each of the character and first print them. So whenever I don't know what to do, first I try to go to each of them. So for each in the sentence, so I will try to get the each character. If I navigate to this directory, CLI, clear, and Python, so and so. You can see that each of the character it is printing, right? Fine. Now the point is, if you store this value in a dictionary, we can get to it. So if I am trying to say that, hey, if I create like a new dictionary called as frequency, I told a new dictionary can be created with just a flower braces or dict built-in function. If I say like, frequency of each character, say is equal to 1, assume, then if I ask to print what is the frequency, so it will do like this. Say I don't want this all prints. I will comment it. If I still execute it again, did you see that each character is coming and the count is 1? So that is not expected, right? You want to know each character, how much time it is occurring. So can I think instead of like this in a better way? Means whatever is the existing value, for that we need to add. So can I do like existing value plus 1? So if I do like this, then it will throw an error. Can someone tell why it is throwing an error? You are trying to create for the first time, right? But still, why it is happening? Do you all know what's happening? So means like when you are creating this one, this is okay. But here you are consuming it, right? Whenever you are reading from the existing value, first it should be defined. So how to solve this problem? We can do like a try block. And here we can write the exception block. And what is the key error, right? Not all errors, key error. So whenever the particular key is not present, means it is for the first time. For the first time, you can assign the value and subsequently you can increment the value. Now, if I do like this, did you see that you got a dictionary with like P is occurring 1 time, I is occurring 4 times, space is occurring 11 times, like that. Now, did you see this problem, how we are solving it? Now, what is a better way of solving it? Okay, this is using the try exception method. So do we have a better way to handle this problem? Yes. So method 2, so instead of try exceptions, we can use like an if condition. How to solve the same problem with if condition? I will take again the same dictionary. So I will loop over each of the characters, same like that. But each time I will check like this. So we have the in operator. So I will ask each character, whatever is in, I'm asking, is it in frequency? Did you see that for everything it will be false? For the first time you are trying to add, say like frequency. Whenever you want to add for the first time, you say like is equal to 1, right? So now you see what happens. First time when it is adding, it will be false, but subsequently it will be true, right? So means first time we need to do like this. So instead of a try exception class, can I do like this? If condition means if the character is already present, then in one way. If it is not present, the other side. So if it is not present, if it is already present, then we need to add the existing value. Sure. So we can use this condition like this. Whenever the value is already there, so you can use the existing value and increment it. So if I execute right now, so you can notice that. So, oh, I am not printing the final result. So this time, if I print the final result, you can notice the difference. Did you see the same problem? Instead of this much complication, I solved in a simple way. But did you see that every time the value is getting 1? Yes, because whenever the value is present, you are updating it. Subsequently, you are adding. So this is kind of like a bug. So for that, if I write like an else condition here, so then it will work. Now, did you see in this case also you're getting perfectly? So this is the second method in which you can for loop and get the values. Okay, sir. Instead of this if condition, can we have a better way? So, when the key is present, it will be like this, right? So can we have a better way? So means like I can go with method 3, where I will loop again the same thing. I will create an empty dictionary, but this time I will try to do in the same way. All the problem came with this only. If we can do this one directly, then there is no problem. But the problem comes when it was not created for the first time. So in that case, instead of doing it directly, what is the better way I told? We can use something called as dot get. Frequency dot get. Dot get means it will not throw in a error, but it will fail for a different error now. Did you understand that the error is like a type error? It is saying that I cannot add a none type and integer. But did you give a none anywhere? No. So the get by default, it will take like a none. So we need to pass the default value. So when you are adding, the default value should be 0, right? Not 1 for the first time. And subsequently you will add. Now, if I made a print statement after this, you will notice that it will also do in the same fashion. You got? The same problem I am trying to solve in different ways. So, okay. So is there furthermore better way of solving this problem? Yes, of course. So this time we can solve the same problem using the same things, but instead of this dot get and so, we should have something else. So first I am trying to set the dictionary and then do the addition. Means instead of get, can I go with something called as set default? There is something called as set default. Using set default, can I do the same thing like get? Yes. Using set default, what happened now? The same problem, same answer you got. On top of it, what else we can do with a set default means you can write in like a separate statement. So you can do like the same value. So whichever you couldn't do earlier. So if I do like is equal to this one, the current value will be existing added. Or if you want to further optimize it, as the same value is getting added for both times, can I use like a compound plus operator? So that also will work. So did you see the problem earlier, how much complicated, how much simply I solved the same problem? So this is one thing. And the next point that you need to understand is about the sorting and on the dictionaries. So it is like, so sorting dicts. So if you want to work with the dictionaries for the sorting, first you remember We have two things called as sorted built-in function and like list dot sort. So here it is a dictionary. So we cannot use list dot sort, only the sorted built-in function. Similarly, we have reversed. You remember? Reversed is a built-in function which will reverse the things, not ascending or descending. Similarly, list dot reverse is there. But the point is like it's not a list, so we cannot use reverse. So we have only two built-in functions. If I check in a traditional way, you can see sorted is a built-in function which can be applied on anything. If I do like a J, you can get it. So if I do this, I'm getting it. So if I give a list, if I give like a string, so all these things I can do. Sorting in an ascending order, descending order, everything can be done. Now assume that I have a dictionary, then how do I sort them? Okay, if I have a dictionary, if I take a dictionary like this, frequency, and I'm asking to sort. If I say frequency, it will say, but if I ask like sorting, it will sort the things. By default, if you apply the sorted built-in function on a dictionary, you will get only the keys. The reason being, when you're looping on a dictionary, by default, you will get only the keys, right? I told you. In the same fashion, when you're looping and sorting on it, you get only the keys sorted fashion. It is same like, dictionary keys. And if you want explicitly values, you can give that. Or on top of it, if you want like a both keys and values, both you want, and you want to then to be sorted, you can do like this. Did you see that if I do dot items, I will get a dict of items. So whenever you do a dictionary dot items, you will get a list of tuples. Did you see? This is a standard structure. Every time you will get a list of tuples only. So by default, when the dictionary is creating. And did you see what are the pairs you are getting? And how it is sorting? It is giving all the way in the same fashion, right? The point is, whenever you have individual elements, it will do. But sir, for dictionaries, how it is doing the sorting means based on the zeroth value. So that is the default thing. So by default, it will sort with the zeroth value within each of the pairs. Sir, if I want to sort them in a different way, say like based on the zeroth value only, but you want to sort in a reverse direction. If I give like this, did you understand that? D came means like A, so B and C and D means each pair will come as it is, but in a reverse direction. Okay, sir. What if I want to sort them in a particular way? Means by default, you know that it will do items based upon the zeroth value. Means zeroth value is the key, right? So if you want to explicitly do in a different way, you can specify that. For doing that, so we have something called as a lambda. You remember I told that if you want to write customizations, we can use this function. This is called as a nameless function. What it actually does, I will tell. If you are given like each tuple, I need to go to each of this tuple. If you are given a tuple, so tuple, okay, I should not use the built-in function, right? Say tuple, so TPL I am writing. If you are given a tuple, so in that tuple, you need to do based on the zeroth value. So zeroth value means, so by key, right? It's by key, sort by key. So if you do like that, did you get it? What happened? So it is saying that, sorted will take only one argument, but you give two arguments. Uh, Sorted is a built-in function. Lambda, okay. Okay, key. So the point is key. Key is equal to, we should write. I didn't write this word. Now it works perfect. If I do like this, now did you see that it is doing the based on the same? Means the answers are same because by default it will do by key. But sir, what if I want to do with a value? Or like the same key, it's in a reverse direction. Say I will take the same thing, but I will add one more thing. See here, within this, I will say reverse equal to true. By default, reverse equal to false. But if I do now, did you see you got it in that direction. In the same fashion, if you want to sort based upon the values, so I can do in the same way. Instead of TPL, I am writing like an X. So now you understood, right? Each tuple, if you are given, you should do the sorting based on the first value. I cannot do two because there were only two values, right? So like this, if you have a pair of values, you can decide that. Subsequently, if you want to get a sorted result, say if someone is asking to get the top three in that frequency, whoever is the top three occurring, then what we can do? First, we can take a dictionary and we can sort them like this, and then we can apply. So if you see the frequency 1, in this case, if you observe, I am taking the frequency of items. I am doing the sorting based upon the value, means frequency, right? And I'm doing in a reverse direction. I'm getting a list of tuples that I'm passing again to a dictionary. So this is how I create a dictionary again after doing the sorting. So I generally finally generate it. Now, similarly, if you want to get something directly instead of the results, because sorted is a built-in function, so which will result in a list of tuples. If you don't want to create a dictionary further, but just want the pairs as it is, you can apply this also, because sorted will give result in a list, right? You can apply them. Now, based upon these things, I have some assignments for you. The assignment is that you need to generate two things. I did like the case sensitivity now, but you need to add the case sensitivity. Sorry, I didn't do the case sensitivity. You need to do case sensitive and case insensitive things. And then you need to do the word frequency analysis. I did individual character. You can take like separate words. When you are having a words, you can add like full stops, question, exclamation like that. Then what will happen? You can see. And then one more thing is like you need to do cleansed word analysis. Means like you need to remove any kind of exclamations, question marks, etc. And then for that you need to do. So how to remove those white spaces? There is something called a string dot punctuations. You remember in the strings I told there is a string module. If you use punctuations, it will give all the punctuations, and it's a better way of cleaning. So if you want to clean the code, this is way. So this is all about those things. Now, after this, finally, I want to bring to your notice about two things. One is about the comprehensions. So the other one is about the iterable objects. First thing is like, let me touch base you on the iterable objects. In terms of the iterable objects, what all things we can do? Let me show. So within the things, if I go with like iterable objects means you till now know what all objects with support for loop on them. Those are all iterable objects, right? So if I iterable objects till now, you know how to for loop only. But for them, we can do further more things. Let's say I am trying to take some kind of list of values. Say value is equal to something. If I go one step back, clear and Python. So iterable objects. Did you see that you are getting all the values? Okay, it's a typical list. So what all things we can do with this list, sir? From this list, let me go in interactive mode. I can do better way of explaining. If I take these values, till now what you know, we can apply the for loop and you can get, that's it. But for iterables, we can do something interesting called as say max. Max is another built-in function. If you apply, you will get the maximum value. If I apply minimum, I will get the what is the minimum value. If I apply like a sum, which is a built-in function, I will get the sum of all the values. So these are the statistical things. So then if I do like, sir, there is one more interesting thing. It is not just every time maximum value and minimum value. Sometimes if you want to get the maximum minimum in a different way, say like not the highest value, but if you want to get the say highest occurring character. You remember, you know what is the concept of median, rank, so statistical values, right? So there is something called as a rank, you remember? So rank means which are is high occurring most time. So if you want to get like that, if I generally use max of values, I get the maximum of values, right? Which is 4. But did you see in these things, each character is occurring sometimes. If you do values dot count of, so count is a built-in attribute, right, for the list. If I say count of 1, it says 1 is occurring 3 times. If I say 2, it is occurring 2 times. If I say like 3, it is occurring 4 times. So like that it is there. Now based upon this, if I want to do, if I do the same max of values, and after that if I say key is equal to lambda, so each number stated, see what I'm doing. So values, right? Values is a list. If I were giving values dot count of this number, so for each of the number you go, and for that current number, what is the count you get it? Based upon that you want to do. So based upon the counts, which is occurring more times? 3 is occurring more times. 3 is occurring 4 times. See, when I ask the max of values, it is 4 based upon the values. But in terms of counts, this is how. So like that, you can write your own custom rules. So using the key is equal to so and so. Similarly, in the same fashion, if I say minimum of values, I get the minimum value. In the same fashion, if I do based upon these counts, what is the minimum occurring? 2 is occurring very minimum. It is occurring only 2 times, but others are occurring more times. So hope you understood how we can do these things. So in the same fashion, so the summation also. So for the same values you have, you can use the sum built-in function. If you pass the values, you get it. But the beauty is like it can take optionally some values. If I say like start equal to 0, that is the default thing. It will take optionally some kind of offset. If I say 56, it will add that number to it. So if I add some start also, we can give. But sum is a built-in function. So minimum, maximum, all these things are built-in functions. They can work only on the iterables. Okay, sir, this is fine. What if you are passing like sum of, a list of values? Till now you are passing values, sir. Fine. What if I pass like alphabets? If I take A, so B, if I do C, and if I say D, and if I say like capital A and like capital Z, like this I have given. So which one do you have? It will work. If I say max of alphabets, did you see why it is giving D? It is because of the ASCII code. Hope you remember the ORD and CHR. I remember I gave you. If you want to get the ORD, means the ASCII code, you need to do ORD. So if I do the same thing for a capital A, you will get less. Remember? So if I do like a minimum of alphabets, it works. That also fine. But sir, what if I give sum of alphabets? Will it works? No, because sum will work only for the integers, because that is a default value. If you want to sum strings means what you want to concatenate, right? So if you want to concatenate strings, the only way is using delimiter.join. If I give that alphabets to it, so it will do it. So fine. So this is all like working with these things. So minimum, maximum, and all these things. And also I told about the last point in terms of the values. If I do like reversed is a built-in function. If I use reversed of values, did you see that it is giving a list reverse iterator? Next, you will see about iterators. Whenever you have like large values, for better managing, we use iterators. But from iterators, if you want values, either convert to list tuple or anything else, or so loop on it. But did you see what reverse has done? It is not doing in ascending or descending, just a mirror image of the order, right? What are the values you got? So similarly, if I have alphabets, so for that, if I apply a reversed of alphabets, I get the value. So for that, if I add like a reverse, you get the same thing in a reverse direction. See, so that is what you need to understand about these things. So this is all about the iterables. So next thing, lastly, I want to touch base is on the comprehensions. So if you know comprehensions, this would be like a fulfillment of the collections to understand. So in principle, comprehension means what? Writing things in a precise manner. That is a simple definition in English. So it is like an alternative way of writing the iterating on the collections. If someone asks you what is a collection, sorry, comprehension, it is another way of rewriting a for loop in a single line. So the simple definition is like, so definition, so rewriting for loop in single line. So that is rewriting for loop in a single line is called as comprehension. So what it actually does, it means traditionally, if you want to loop on some values and get the values, so how you do? If I have some list of values, let's say for I in range of say 2, 9, if I want to get the values, you do like print. So when you do a print, it will work perfectly. So if I exit it here and Python comprehension, you got the values, but you cannot use it for other purpose. It is human beings, if they want to consume, you can print it. But if you want to use those values for another purpose, you cannot use directly, right? Say like you are getting the values and you are doing like whether it is even or not, and you are getting the even numbers. Okay, you got it. Maybe these even numbers you want to pass to another function or another logic. You cannot do directly. So if you want to do, you need to pass to a list and do it. Say if I'm taking a list. So in this case, I'm creating a list and I'm passing the things. So I'm not doing any condition, but like passing to these values. So what are the generated values I am passing to this list so that I will use afterwards. So it works perfectly. Now, the same thing we can write in a comprehension. So using comprehension, so what we do is like, whatever the for loop, see what I'm doing. I write the for loop first. Within the for loop, what you are adding? I. So I will write that I before. And I need to store the result in a braces. So if I say like, I will assign this to something like an other list equal to something. Now, if I print, I will get exactly the same values. Means instead of doing the for loop first and rewriting in multiple lines, I wrote that for loop in a single line. So let me go with one more example. If I have a for loop with a condition, so whatever I wrote up in the top, the same thing I want to do. Say comprehension with a condition. Say I am going with like a even list. So even list of values I want to store. So I need to loop over each of the values and I need to take, right? The same thing I need to do. First, I write the even list and I need to loop over each of them. And if the condition is matching, then I need to append it. So for this, if I want to implement in a single line, so I can write like even list 2 is equal to in a list. So first I write this condition, whatever is there, sorry, loop. Within that loop, we have this condition. You write that condition also by giving one space. Now, what you want to add finally? You want to add I. So I write it. Now, the entire for loop, I have able to write in a single line. You will get the same result. So it's a typo. If you see now, you are getting the same result. So that is how it works. So similarly, if you want to do the same comprehension with a one more logic, you want to get conditions and you want to result in a squares. You don't want direct values, but squares. So then what I will do, instead of an even list, I will write like an even squares. So I will write like squares. So instead of doing like this, I want to write like even squares. So instead of that, I will do like to the power of 2. Now we see in this example, what will happen? It will storing the square values. Now for the same thing, if I want to implement, see how I'm doing? Even squares 2 is equal to, I'm storing in a list. So that's why it is called a list comprehension. I'm writing the brace, so sorry, for loop. Within that, what are the condition you have? I'm writing that condition also. And within that condition, what logic you want to do? You want to do a for loop. So you want to do this one. So whatever you are appending, I'm placing this as a logic. Now, if I print this one, you can notice the difference. So did you see that? Both are giving the same answer. Means whatever the logic you have, you can do it. But for everything, there will be a limitation. Even comprehensions has a limitation. What is that limitation, sir? If at all, if you have a use case where you are doing like an if-else condition within a for loop, say like, I want to store whether something is even or odd. In this condition, I am taking every time an if condition. If it is even, I am adding even, else I am adding odd. Means I have an if-else condition, right? When you have an if-else condition, so I will try to do in the same fashion by writing even or 2 is equal to another list. I write this condition. So, but I can do the if condition, but not the else. So that is a limitation. So the limitation is that, so else is not supported in comprehensions. So it is not supported in comprehension. Then how to do? So we can use something called as ternary operation. You remember on the other day I told about the ternary operation. Whenever you have binary values, two things to be done. In that case, we can go for a binary operation I told. You write an if condition. If the condition is matched, the previous value will come, else the next one will come. So like that, we can use it, right? So using that, I can leverage it. So what I will do is like, so every time I want to check this condition and do. So for that, I will do, let's say, I'm going in interactive mode to help better. So I will write a logic like this. I will loop over each of the values and I write the condition. So this is the condition that I want to date. For everything, I'm getting it true or false, right? Now for this, I will add before and after. So if it is correct, I should get like even. So else, I should get a odd. So this entire thing, if you observe, this entire thing is a logic, single logic. Now in this way, we are trying to implement it. But did you see why it is throwing an error? So it is saying like, so if true, else false. So I think it should work. If I remove the print statements, still it is not working. Okay. The problem is that I forgot to write the if condition. So if I write in if, then it will work. So if true, so and so, else so and so. So this is what way we can use these conditions for. So you can try different things. I wrote like multiple examples. Just walk through them. You will understand. So what this is called as a comprehension, right? But the same comprehension, if you are storing the results in a square braces, it's a list comprehension. But if you are storing in a different comprehensions, that is called a corresponding thing. If you take this example, say like, here you are storing the end results in a list. That's it's called as a list comprehension. But if you are storing the end results in like a parenthesis, it's what? It is a set comprehension. If you are storing the end results in like a set, it's a set comprehension. So similarly, if you are storing like a key column value like that, so it is called like a tuple comprehension. So means like you can go over the same values and do multiple things. Let me give a simple example. For I in range of 2, 9. So that's what you have till now. If I do like a I, this is what list comprehension. For that, if I pass like the parentheses like this is not called as a tuple comprehension. This is called as a generator expression. Means from generator expression, you cannot get the values directly. If I assign to a result, and if I ask, hey, print result, see, it is like an optimized object. If you want results, again, you need to loop over it and do it. So these iterators, generators, these are all optimized objects. You will learn about next. So next, if the same result I'm storing in like a flower braces, it is called as a set comprehension. But if I want to create like a dictionary comprehension, I should have like a key colon value. Say like key colon value like this. Now it is a dictionary comprehension. Hope now you understood what is the comprehensions and all things we can do with these comprehensions. So fine. So this is all about this comprehensions and others.